Bashem Yahuah. Yahusha, living water.
She said she's not seeing you.
Baruch haba Bashem Yahuah. I'll sing out with praise to you. Your name is beautiful to me, my King. I'll sing out with praise to you. My heart desires to honor you, my God. I sing out with praise to you, Yahusha. Living Torah, Baruch haba Bashem Yahuah. Yahusha, living Torah, Baruch haba Bashem Yahuah. I sing out with praise to you. Your name is beautiful to me, my King. I sing out with praise to you. My heart desires to honor you, my God. I sing out with praise to you, Yahusha. Living Torah, Baruch haba Bashem Yahuah. Baruch haba Bashem Yahuah. Baruch haba Bashem Yahuah. Baruch haba Bashem Yahuah.
Hear, O Yisrael, Yahuah, our Elohim. Yahuah is one, And you shall love Yahuah your Elohim with all your heart and with all your being and with all your might. And these words which I am commanding you today shall be in your heart, and you shall impress them upon your children, and shall speak of them when you sit in your house, and when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up, and shall bind them as a sign on your hand, and they shall be as frontlets between your eyes. And you shall write them on the doorpost of your house and on your gates. Hallelujah. Shabbat shalom, everybody. Glad to see you all here. Phyllis White, glad you're here. Glad to see you, Brother Lou. Glad to see you, Peggy Russell. Yahuah's child, Tammy T. I'm glad you're here. So this week here, we're going to get into a little bit of the Tanakh and Torah. I had run across someone from a while back that I had thought was a Natsarim, and it turns out for some reason they said that they now believe that Yahuah was a woman, and woman, female form or something. And then so when I asked them about that, to try to explain that to me, I'll be interested in why you think that, because this person was like all over being a Natsarim. And so anyways, they proceeded to tell me that it was over my head or it was over my pay scale. Like I was too stupid to understand it, I guess. So I did a little bit of research on it myself, and kind of like to talk about it this evening. And there is, I guess I can understand a little bit about why they're misled in that direction, and the verses, the cherry-picked verses, and false teaching out there that leads people astray to believe something, that kind of absurd like that. But anyways, we'll be reading out of Proverbs this evening, out of the Tanakh, and talking about this strange. I guess it's. I don't think it's a new teaching. It's been around for a while, but it seems to be starting to expand and grow a little bit, and it's even sucking in some of the Natsarim, which is kind of really mind blowing if you think about it. How they could be misled by false doctrine like that. But hey, Scripture kind of warns us that can happen, right? So we all have to stay on our toes, stay in the word of truth, pray continuously, and seek out Yahuah's face continuously. Because if we stop doing that and running the race of endurance, then we're weak. We weaken, our being weakens, and then we get more and more subject to being deceived by the spirit of delusion. So anyway, got quite a bit to read here, so I'm going to start off on the Torah portion here fairly quickly. But before we get into that, let me just explain a little bit here so we're all on the same page. Lucas, glad you're here, brother. In Genesis, Yahuah's neighborhood, glad you're RT. Yahuah's neighborhood, hope to talk to you a little later on this evening or tomorrow, brother. But anyway, in Genesis, it says in the beginning. Well, let's just read it really quick. I don't want to misquote it. But it says, in the beginning, Elohim created the Shemayim and the Eretz. All right, so verse first. All right, so they go on into other translations, which we're going to get into maybe next week or the week after. It's been kind of on my heart to, speak on these all these translations, thousands of them out there. But anyway, as they go down through here, some of them, like the NKJV, it goes over here to like verse 26. It says, then God said, let us make man in our image, according to our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the air, and over the cattle, and so on and so forth. So, all right. So, what they do here is they take this Genesis knowledge, cherry pick these verses, and apply it to Proverbs, because Proverbs speaks of that wisdom is a woman, because her or she created everything. And so this is all gets mixed up in their mind. False teachers see where they can become a predator and use this to influence people, things like that. And I'm sure demons are right in on it too. Yes, sir. Tomorrow, RT, if we can. And so anyway, they begin to get confused and they start following this false teaching. So I'm not going to get too much into this right now, but I just want to touch it real quick, that what a Targum is. A lot of people out there that I've been speaking to point out the Targums all the time, the Aramaic Targum, the Palestinian Targum, the Neo-Fatah Targum, the Angelos Targum, And what this is, folks, it's not a big mystery, Natsarim. It's all that is the Tanakh. And sometimes it doesn't even, most of the time it's not the full Torah or the full Tanakh anyway. It's missing other books and writings, so forth and so on, Daniel and a few others. But Ezra doesn't have that. Daniel, Nehemiah doesn't have that. But anyway, it's what it is. It's what they call rabbis in Orthodox Judaism, rabbi type people. And then back in the 1st century for some of them, and between the 3rd and the 7th century for most of them. And what it is, they're taking the Hebrew Torah or Tanakh, and they are translating it into Aramaic. And it's authorized by the Orthodox Jewish leaders for them to read it, and especially the ones up, the Yahudim that are up in Iraq and Turkey and places like that, get that, and they read that Aramaic Targum. It's all it is. It's not some big secret like they pretend it is. Well, you've never read the Aramaic Targum, So I was like, huh? I guess I didn't, because I haven't even heard of it. That's all it is. Now, the little special thing about it is when these teachers, leaders, rabbis, these Yehudim, translated this Torah or the Tanakh into the Aramaic, they paraphrased it a lot. And so they either took away or added to, but they did a lot of paraphrasing in order to try to explain the Hebrew scriptures or Torah to the Yehudim that was in Dispersa or living outside of Israel and were speaking fluently Aramaic, more fluently than anything else. And so they paraphrased it in order to try to get them to understand what the meaning behind some of this was. So anyway, reason we're going to get in a lot more of that when we do get into translations. But one of the points, the highlights that the reason I'm saying all that is there is one, and this will you'll understand why I said this as we start reading and getting more into this here in a little bit. But there is one Targum, and I think it may be what they call the Palestinian Targum. It's really just Aramaic, but they call it that. And this was like written around the 3rd or 7th century, somewhere in there. Actually says in here that in the beginning, Elohim created the Shemayim and the Eretz with wisdom. And with wisdom, he created them. Okay. And so this is speaking of his divine, superior knowledge. It's not speaking of a second God or a female, his wife or something sitting there beside him, or somehow they twist that to make him mean that he's a female. So, but anyway, that's what this paraphrase Targum says. And so it kind of, in a way, clarifies that he was the only creator. He created everything with great wisdom. Now I'm paraphrasing. He didn't create it with wisdom, his wife, okay, or whatever, or another God leaning toward Trinitarianism type beliefs, or Bitarianism or something. So anyways, this is what this lesson is going to be all about. I just want to make sure we all understand that this doctrine is out there. It's a doctrine from demons. It's only there to mislead us, distort it. It's coming from the spirit of delusion. It's not truth. Elijah Adams, glad you're here, brother. Isaiah Diaz, glad to see you. All right. So that's the beginning of all this, and let's go ahead and get into our Torah portion reading, and then hopefully we can open this up and get some people in here. So a lot of where they run off to here is obviously in Proverbs. They go to Proverbs, and so that's what we're going to head to. So if you have your BYNV, Natsarim, open her up to Proverbs, and we'll start at chapter 8. Proverbs chapter 8, and we're studying on wisdom, whether wisdom created everything, and it's a she, it's a girl, it's a female, God, but Yahuah is really a female. We're looking for evidence and confirmation that this doctrine of demons is in fact false. Glad you got on, Latter Rain. All righty. For most of the ones that don't know, Latter Rain's my wife, and hopefully you'll be meeting her here soon. I'm trying to talk her into coming on, at least doing a little video. But she's making progress. At least she's in the chat room now. She is a good Natsarim, though. Don't get me wrong on that. She just doesn't like the attention or trying to get the esteem away from Yahuah. She wants to give Yahuah all the esteem and not take any of his esteem. And she just feels that that's coming on and showing yourself and all this and that is doing that. But we've been talking about it, so I think she's starting to come around. But anyway, Proverbs 8, BYNV. Does not wisdom call? Does not wisdom call? And insight lift up her voice. Let's see, here we go. Right off the get-go, wisdom is a her. All right, so I said they'd love to go here. But as we read in context, we're going to find out who wisdom really is. And it's not a female. But I don't want to let the cat out of the bag, so let's just keep reading. On the top of the heights along the way, between the paths, she has taken her stand. Behind the gates leading to the city, at the entrances, she shouts, O men, I call to you, and my voice is to the sons of men. You simple ones, understand insight, and you fools, be of an understanding heart. Listen, for I speak noble words, and the opening of my lips is about straightness. From my mouth speaks truth, and falsehood is an abomination to my lips. All the words of my mouth are in rightness, none of them twisted or crooked. All of them plain to him who understands, and straight to those who find knowledge. Accept my discipline and not silver, and knowledge rather than choice gold. For wisdom is better than rubies, and all delights are not comparable to her. So far, it sounds like wisdom's a her, right? The other thing here that I kind of wanted to just mention is that none of them twisted or crooked. Mouth is righteous to him who understands, and straight to those who find knowledge. Now, knowledge here, folks, is not the knowledge that the world seeks. It's true. It's written in Scripture. The knowledge puffs up and love builds up. That's a true statement. It's in there. But this knowledge is not the knowledge that we seek of Yahuah. It is the knowledge that we seek of Yahuah. I mean, it's not the knowledge that the world is seeking in order to esteem theirself. It's a different knowledge. Okay. So I, wisdom, have dwelt with insight, and find knowledge, foresight. The fear of Yahuah is to hate evil. I have hated people and arrogance and the evil way and the perverse mouth. Counsel is mine and sound wisdom. I am understanding. Mightiness is mine. By me sovereigns reign, and rulers make righteous decrees. By me princesses rule, and nobles, all the judges of the earth. I love those who love me, and those who earnestly seek me do find me. Baruch Yahuah, glad you're here, sister. Bringing souls to Mashiach, glad you're here. So here we're starting to find out here now. It still sounds like wisdom's a she. But we're starting to find out is wisdom here is very powerful, full of power and strength, right? Big time. So there's a lot of power here behind whoever wisdom is. So I love those who love me, and those who earnestly seek me do find me. Riches and esteem are with me, enduring wealth and righteousness. My fruit is better than gold and fine gold, and my increase than choice silver. I walk in the way of righteousness in the midst of the paths of right ruling. Right ruling, there's a big hint in who wisdom truly is. To bestow substance on those who love me, substance. That's a big word, substance. That's well beyond anything that you could ask or hope for from you. Substance, man, he's giving you everything. He's just opening the windows of heaven and pouring down blessings upon blessings. That's substance. They just giving it all to you, really. To bestow substance on those who love me, and to fill their treasuries. That's powerful, man. Yahuah possessed me, the beginning of his way. Yahuah possessed me, the beginning of his way. We're talking about wisdom now. Yahuah possessed wisdom, the beginning of his way. This is a big clue on who wisdom really is, folks. As the first of his works of old, I was set up ages ago, at the first, before the earth ever was. When there was no depths, I was brought forth. When there were no springs heavy with water, before mountains were sunk, before the hills, I was brought forth. Before he had made the arets and the fields, or the first dust of the world. When he prepared the Shemayim, I was there. When he declared a boundary on the face of the deep. When he set the clouds above. When he made the fountains of the deep strong. when he gave to the sea its limit, so that the Mayim would not transgress his command, when he decreed the foundations of the Eretz. Then I was beside him, a master designer. What? Whoa. Okay, so wisdom was beside him and is a master designer. And I was his delight. Yom by yom, rejoicing before him all the time, rejoicing in the world, his Eretz, and my delights were with the sons of men. And now, listen to me, you children, for blessed are they who guard my ways. Ways of wisdom. Boy's wisdom is sure is powerful, huh? Listen to discipline and become wise, and do not refuse it. Blessed is the man who listens to me, watching daily at my gates, waiting at the posts of my doors. For whoever finds me shall find life and obtain favor from Yahuah. But he who sins against me injures himself. All who hate me love death. All right. Hi, Bruce. Glad you're here, brother. All right. So just this first chapter alone is giving us a tremendous amount of hints on who wisdom truly is. You know, and we're going to keep reading through this next chapter because it's going to reveal it to us here shortly, and then we're going to get confirmation in about 4 different places on what we're learning here about wisdom and who wisdom is. Wisdom has built her house. See, this is why they're going around saying Yahuah is a female, you know, because of this her thing. But look, we're his bride. Okay, we're a her too. You know, we're his bride. Bride means that we're his woman, female. Okay, spiritually. All right, so this is not too odd when you consider that we're his wife. Right, the body of the Mashiach is his bride. Right, he's the husband or the bridegroom. Right, so it's not that weird. Think about that in a spiritual, pure heart, clean-minded way. If you start thinking with a perverse mind, you know, in a dark heart, your mind can take you to some really dark places, you know, but you don't want to do that. You want to stay in the light. All right, here we go. Wisdom has built her house. She has hewn out its 7 columns. Lou has a little footnote here, says that the 7 columns are the week or the 7 days of creation. Could be. She has slaughtered her meat. This is she, everything she. She has mixed her wine. She has also prepared her table. She has sent out her young women. She cries out from the highest places of the city. Who is simple? Let him turn in here. As for him who lacks heart, she says to him, come, eat of my bread and drink of my wine I have mixed. Leave the simple ones and live, and walk in the way of understanding. He who reproves a scoffer gets shame for himself, and he who rebukes a wrong one gets himself a blemish. So you have to be careful what you say to people, don't we? Interesting. Do not reprove a scoffer, lest he hate you. Reprove a wise one, and he loves you. Give instruction to a wise one, and he is wiser still. Teach a righteous one, and he increases in learning. That's very powerful. We all really need to get a handle on that and really think harder about that right there. Okay. Teach a righteous one, and he increases in learning. The fear of Yahuah is the beginning of wisdom. Okay. So now the tide's starting to turn just a little bit. Wisdom is Torah, and Torah is living words. And the living words is Yahusha. Lou, you're giving it away. And you ain't supposed to know it yet. Lou gave it away. Wisdom is Yahuah, the living words, the Torah. Well, let's just keep studying. The fear of Yahuah is the beginning of wisdom. And the knowledge of the set apart one is understanding. The knowledge of the set apart one is understanding what? The Torah, Scripture. For by me, your days become many, and years of life are added to you. Interesting. If you have become wise, you have become wise for yourself. And if you have scoffed, you alone bear it. A foolish Asha is loud, simple, and without knowledge. For she has seated herself at the door of her house, on the seat by the highest places of the city, to call to those who pass by, who go straight on their way. Who is simple? Let him turn in here. And as for him who lacks heart, she says to him, lacks heart. Stolen mayhem are sweet, and bread eaten in secret is pleasant. But he does not know that the dead are there. Her guests are in the depths of the grave. This is speaking of being adulterous, enticing men because her husband's away type deal. All right, so here we go. Proverbs 10. That'll be the end of the Torah portion study, and then I'm going to elaborate a little bit here. But Proverbs of Solomon. A wise son makes a father rejoice. And all us fathers knows how true that is. But a foolish son is his mother's sorrow. Treasures of wrongness are of no value, but righteousness delivers from death. What's righteousness? Obedience to the Torah, right? Obedience to Yahuah's instructions, right? That's righteousness. Disobedience or lawlessness is unrighteousness. Yahuah does not let the being of the righteous go hungry, but he thrusts away the desire of the wrong one. Poor is he who works with a lazy hand, but the hand of the hard worker makes wealth. He who gathers in summer is a wise son. He who sleeps in harvest is the son who causes shame. You know that we're working the harvest right now, Natsarim? Yeah, working the harvest. He's called out the fishermen. He called out the hunters. He's working the harvest. The harvest is ready for the pickings. If you're not working the harvest, you better start working it, because he who sleeps in harvest is a son who causes shame. You're the son of Yahuah. You cause him shame if you ain't working that harvest, causing him shame. Blessings are on the head of the righteous, but violence covers the mouth of the wrong. The remembrance of the righteous is blessed, but the name of the wrong one's rot. The wise in heart accepts commands, but one with foolish lips falls. He who walks in integrity walks safely, but he who perverts his ways becomes known. What's integrity? Anybody know what integrity is? Basically, integrity is doing what you know is right, even when no one is watching you. That's integrity. He who winks with the eye causes sorrow, and one with foolish lips falls. The mouth of the righteous is a fountain of life, but violence covers the mouth of the wrong. Hatred stirs up strife, but love covers all transgressions. What's a transgression? A violation of the Torah commands. Any violation of Yahuah's instructions is a transgression. If you go out and steal from your neighbor or from Walmart, you just transgressed Yahuah's command not to steal. Do not steal. It's a transgression of the law, basically, if you will. Wisdom is found on the lips of those having insight. That's very powerful. But a rod is for the back of those lacking integrity. The wise treasure up knowledge, but the mouth of a fool is near ruin. The rich man's wealth is his strong city. The ruin of the poor is their poverty. The wage of the righteous is for life. The increase of the wrong is for sin. He who heeds discipline is in the way of life, but he who refuses reproof gets lost. He who hides hatred has lying lips, and he who sends out a slander is a fool. Whoa. When words are many, transgression is not absent, but he who restrains his lips is wise. That's why I got that barbed wire wrapped up around that tongue when you see me come on. Trying to reminding me, bridle your tongue, restrain your lips. The tongue of the righteous is choice silver. The heart of the wrong is of little value. The lips of the just shepherd many, but fools die for lack of integrity. The blessing of Yahuah makes one rich, and he adds no pain with it. To work out, the blessing of Yahuah makes one rich. So is it wrong, or is it a sin to be a receiver of Yahuah's blessings? If he sends you $1 billion, is that a sin? Absolutely not. The blessings of Yahuah makes one rich. Be thankful and help others with his blessings he gives you. And you just give them away if you want to. He'll give you more. You can't never outgive him. You can become a giver like him, but you can never outgive him. And he adds no pain with it. So he ain't going to give you no pain because you're rich. As long as you're using it wisely for his esteem and to help others, he wants to channel it through you in order to help others. And that's what you do. There's no pain. He's not going to give you no pain with that. You're allowed to be rich. You're allowed to receive his blessings. We're receivers. He's the giver of everything. We receive with thankfulness, gladness, and then we mimic him and continue and give to others as he's given to us. We just channel it. That's all. Ain't no pain to that. Should be a lot of joy to that. It surely is not a sin, folks, to be a receiver of Yahuah's blessings. There's no way. To work out wicked schemes is like sport to a fool, but wisdom is for a man of insight. That insight, man, that's powerful stuff. What the wrong one fears comes upon him, but the desire of the righteous is granted. Yeah, because the wrong one fears, what he fears comes upon him because he's worshiping what he fears. It's a form of worship. When you fear something, you're submitting to that, which means you're worshiping it. And so Yahuah says, okay, you can have it then. See that? Very powerful. Be careful. But the desire of the righteous is granted. So if you don't fear nothing, but you ask for something to help esteem him or others, it's granted. You're asking in a righteous way, in a righteous manner, without fear. Lufa Milayo, sister, glad you're here. As the whirlwind passes by, the wrong one is no more, but the righteous has an everlasting foundation. Vinegar to the teeth and smoke to the eyes. As vinegar to the teeth and smoke to the eyes, so is the lazy one to those who send him. The fear of Yahuah prolongs days, but the years of the wrong ones are shortened. The righteous look forward to joy, but the expectancy of the wrong one perishes. The way of Yahuah is a stronghold for the perfect. Perfect what? Perfect in love. Showing love to Yahuah and others, even your enemy. But ruin to the workers of wickedness. The righteous is never shaken, while the wrong shall not dwell in the arets. The mouth of the just brings forth wisdom, but the tongue of malice is cut out. The lips of the just know what is amiable, but the mouth of the wrong perverseness. All right. So that's pretty much what's happening there. Okay. So I'm gonna do get a little bit here, more evidence of who wisdom is, and it's not a female. All right. I suppose we could look at this sort of like, and this is just me talking now. Okay. You ever see a man get a car, muscle car or something, or a real nice pickup truck, shines it all up and everything, and someone comes up and says, his buddy comes up and says, "Hey, Mac, how you doing, man? How's she running?" Now, is that car a female? Because he said, "How's she running?" No, not really. I think this may be sort of like that. But I want to go right back to what we said in the beginning, that Yahuah created all things in the Shemayim and the Eretz and all that's in them with great wisdom. Okay. That's what I think. That's what I say. But anyway, let's get a look real quick over here at Corinthians. Go to 1 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 30. And of him you are in Mashiach Yahusha, who became for us wisdom from Yahuah, righteousness also, and set apartness and redemption, that as it has been written, he who boasts, let him boast in Yahuah. Right there it is, folks. And of him you are in Mashiach Yahusha, who became for us wisdom from Yahuah. So wisdom is Yahusha HaMashiach. That's what that Proverbs is talking about. Okay. So it's Yahuah. And the Torah, the living words. It's his living words. He speaks. That's how powerful Yahuah is. You ever stop and consider how powerful he is? When he speaks, things materialize. Things come out of nowhere. He creates out of nothing just with his voice. Yeah. That's a pretty powerful thought. And very, very, very intriguing. Okay, so we can go to Psalms 104. Verse 23 and 24 says, "Man goes out to his work and to his labor until evening. Yahuah, how many have been your works? You have made all of them in wisdom. The Eretz is filled with your possessions." So there it is again. He made all things with wisdom. Supreme divine wisdom. His knowledge is unspeakable. See that? So he's not a female. And there's some proof, a little bit more proof of that would be Isaiah. Let's go to Isaiah 54, verse 5. "For your maker is your husband." Now, can a husband be a female? Absolutely not. If you're a husband, you're a male. You have to be a male to be a husband. You can't be a wife and be a male. A wife is a female. The body's his female, is his woman, his bride. He's the husband. He's the head. He's the male. See that? So yeah, it's just they're just twisting it, to try to come up with some weird doctrine of demons, and they bring in as many people into it as they can and teach them by cherry picking and creating a doctrine that Yahuah is a female, and the proof is in Proverbs when it says her and she when it speaks of wisdom. it's pretty obvious that's not what it's saying. At least it is to me. Adasa, glad you're here, sister. And so anyway, for your maker is your husband. Yahuah Sabaoth is his name. So there you go. Your husband's name is Yahuah. And he's a male. He has to be a husband. His name's Yahuah. So Yahuah cannot be a female. It's ridiculous. And the set apart one of Israel is your Redeemer. He is called the Elohim of the Eretz, for Yahuah has called you like an Asha forsaken. See, we're the Asha. If anybody a female, it's us. Right? He was called the Elohim of the Eretz, for Yahuah has called you like an Asha forsaken and grieved in spirit, like an Asha of youth when you were refused, declares your Elohim. For a little while I have forsaken you, but with great compassion I shall gather you. In an overflow of wrath I hid my face from you for a moment, but with everlasting kindness I shall have compassion on you, said Yahuah, your Redeemer. Who's our Redeemer? Yahusha? Is he going to come back and redeem us? You better believe he is. The king is coming back for his bride who he paid for. Highest price possible, his blood, right? And he's going to come back and redeem his property, his possession. That's us, the Asha, the woman, the bride, his woman, his queen, if you will. But yeah, so that pretty much lets us know who that Yahuah is not female, because he could not be a husband if he was a female. It's pretty obvious. So I don't know really. I mean, why they say that, where they get all that from, other than, like I said, twisting and spinning scriptures, cherry picking, creating the doctrine of demons, passing it around, holding out their hand for money, I guess. Look how smart and wise I am. I created this doctrine. Give me some money and follow what I'm saying. It's no, it's above your pay grade, man. You ain't no way you can understand that Yahuah is a female. Yeah, you gotta be smart to believe that. Yeah. Okay. I'd rather be dumbest one in the barrel, dumbest pickle in the barrel, than follow along with something like that just to pretend like I'm smart, Let's look at Proverbs while we're in Proverbs, and then I'm going to open this up fairly early this evening. Hoping I can get some conversation in here. Let's look at Proverbs 6 real fast, and then I'll open it up. We've the Queen of Heaven. We're the Asha coming down from the Shemayim from Yahuah. We're the new city, living stones built up. Lucas, it's all metaphoric, okay? And it's done so that the wrong can't understand. So that if they do understand and they do what's required to be delivered, to be healed, then Yahuah would heal them. He would have to heal them, even if they aren't his chosen. So that's why things are done this way, in a spiritual manner. So you have to gain insight into the spiritual realm where love and truth reside, is who Yahuah is, in order to understand spiritual matters. The literal matters are for everyone to understand, and if they love the literal and they want to seek more truth, then he'll start showing them. He'll give them insight. You can also give insight. You can be a channel or a conduit from Yahuah or Yahusha through you to someone else. So the new city coming down from the Shemayim is his bride. You can read that in Revelations. Okay, adorned with all kinds of precious metals and stones and gems, dressed in white, so forth and so on. So are we all going to be molded into a shape of a rock with eyeballs and a mouth and stuck into a temple of Yahuah? Or be the actual columns in there? Are the first Talmudim? Are they going to be the actual foundations of the temple? Are they going to be living foundations? No, it's just all metaphoric, Lucas. It's spiritual insight, man. He's telling you something. He's telling you a secret that you have to have spiritual insight to understand it. You have to open up your mind to understand the scriptures, to see into the spiritual realm and understand the spiritual matters hidden in the Tanakh. Okay, so that's what that's all about. But you're doing good, man. You're asking good questions. You're on track, and you're alert, and you're keen to scriptures, verses, and that's good. So just keep doing that. Proverbs 6:12 says, a man of Yala or whatever, a wicked man walks with a perverse mouth. So can we sin with our mouth? Absolutely. We have to be careful what comes out of our mouth. That's what can hurt. It's not what goes in, but what comes out, because it's coming out of a wicked heart. So we got to kind of, clean up our speech. Be careful what we're saying to others, things like this. If it's a struggle or a stumbling block for you, just keep working on it. Don't ever give up, because you might just be ready to break through that wall to the other side. Okay? If most successful people in the world will all have the same in-game story, man. Every single one of them will tell you that when they were trying to achieve whatever it was they were trying to achieve, when they got almost to the point where they were going to be successful, in their mind told them to quit. They wanted to stop. They wanted to quit. All right. But every single one of them became successful in what they were trying to achieve, pushed farther against the pressure, just a little bit more, and bam, it was just that fast they became successful. If they would have stopped or quit, they would have failed and been unsuccessful. You can't fail unless you stop trying. Okay, so just continue to work on it. Try not to cuss. Try not to curse other people with your mouth. So curses and blasphemy and filthy words will come out of your mouth. Just keep trying to will it down, and ask Yahushua for help, and he'll help you. Pretty soon, it'll all be a bad memory of the past, the way things that just come from your mouth. But Scripture also tells us that the tongue, although it's small and tiny part of the body, cannot be tamed. So don't expect perfect results when it comes to your mouth. But just try. Keep trying. I think we all battle with that. I really do. He walks with a perverse mouth, winks with his eyes. That's deceivement, stabbing people behind the back or whatever. Shuffles his feet, points with his fingers. Perverseness is in his heart, plotting evil at all times. Can you imagine that? Plotting evil at all times. He sends out strife. Therefore, his calamity comes suddenly. Instantly, he is broken, and there is no healing. There's no healing. There's no deliverance. These Yahuah hates. Now, this is extremely important and vital to comprehend, because these 7 things that Yahuah hates, we don't want to be doing any of them. We got to really try to avoid these. These Yahuah hates, and 7 are an abomination to him. Abomination to him? Wow, hates them pretty strongly. A proud look. A proud look. A lying tongue. liar, a lying tongue. Somebody who lies, don't even have to lie. They lie because they enjoy lying, I guess. And probably their favorite holiday is April Fool's Day, right? A lying tongue. And hands shedding innocent blood. A heart devising wicked schemes. Feet quick to run to evil. A false witness breathing out lies. And one who causes strife among brothers. So, be real careful when you start talking about a brother, man. I mean, that's treacherous water. You're supposed to love your brother, man. Matter of fact, if you don't love your brother, I'd say you don't have the Ruach in you for sure. Gotta love your brother, man. The one who's breathing out lies, and one who causes strife among the brothers. My son, watch over your father's command and do not forsake the Torah of your mother. Bind them on your heart always. Tie them around your neck. When you are walking about, it leads you. When you lie down, it guards you. And when you have woken up, it talks to you. Gibson girl, glad you're here. David Colleen, glad you're here, bro. For the command is a lamp, and the Torah is light, and reproofs of discipline a way of life. To guard you against an evil asha, from the flattering tongue of a strange asha. And this goes on into whoring and adultery and things like that. But anyway, those are the 7 things, the things that Yahuah hates, and 7 of those are an abomination to him. So we want to stay away from all that kind of stuff. You notice lying and breathing out lies, lying tongue. We have to speak truth, Natsarim. Not only do we have to be truth seekers, which I believe most of the Natsarim are, we have to be truth speakers. So truth seekers and truth speakers. That's what the Natsarim do. There's no lie in us. So we're not going to spread lies, especially about Scripture. And you can't be ashamed of Yahuah or His name, His word, His truth, His gifts to you. Nothing. You just cannot. And Yahushua said, if you're ashamed of Him, He'll be ashamed of you when you come before the Father. You stand before the Father, He'd be ashamed of you. You don't want Yahushua to be ashamed of you, so don't be ashamed of Him. So anyways, that's pretty much a wrap on that wisdom deal. Probably, it's just more of a figure of speech, folks. It's like, she's running good and talking about a car or something, or whatever, rather than actual, literal, matter-of-factly. Because as you notice, as we read about wisdom, wisdom had all the characteristics and all the power of Yahuah. It did everything. It created everything, it was before anything. So it was Yahuah, man. Yahushua is Yahuah. That's just a role of him as the deliverer of men, is when he came down, incarnated himself, and appeared to men in the flesh, so that we could know him, and so that he would make a way for us to go get back to him, and be able to live with him for everlasting life. And that way is through his son Yahushua, or the incarnation that came to what? Incarnation came to do a lot of things, but the main thing that he came to do was offer his blood for man, for the sins of the world. It's a blood offering. So he had to die. He came to die for us. Okay. That was his role. And what had to be done, because without the shedding of blood, there is no forgiveness. And it wasn't human blood that was shed. It was divine blood. It was the blood of the Ruach HaKodesh. or Yahusha, which are all one and the same, just different roles. I thought there was something else, but maybe not. Okay. Here, let's see this here now. Wisdom. Speaking of wisdom, there's. Let me get back to this BYB real quick. Just want to show this last thing. I'm gonna open this up. Here in Ecclesiastes, it's Solomon wrote to his son, said, King Solomon, and besides these, my son, I'm in chapter 12, verse 12. And besides these, my son, be warned, the making of many books has no end, and much study is a wearying of the flesh. Let us hear the conclusion of the entire matter. For Elohim, fear Elohim, which is the beginning of wisdom, and guard the commands, for these applies to all mankind. For Elohim shall bring every work into right ruling, including all that is hidden, whether good or whether evil. So here we go. So he's saying, you're not going to find wisdom, and you're not going to find salvation. You're not going to do anything by writing or reading books, okay? Because this is applying to the knowledge that the world seeks, not to the knowledge of Yahuah that the Natsarim seek, but the knowledge that the world seeks in order to advance themselves above others. Okay, it's not going to do you no good. And so I'm going to share screen this if I can. Let's see if we can get it done here, and then we'll open this up. Yeah, I think I can do it. Okay, here we go. Is it going to work? Yeah, I don't think so. Bet y'all aren't seeing that, are you? I don't know why you're not seeing that. Guess it's not going to let me do it. Anyway, there's a guy. This picture here, I don't think you can. I can't do nothing with it for some weird reason. I don't know what it is. Okay, maybe now I can. Now, anyway, if you look real close, this man here has the biggest private collection of books in the world in his house. Private collector. There he is, seeing of all his books. There's a bunch of books right here and here. Seeking truth. It says seeking truth. And you got thousands upon thousands of books. Here's same thing. Seeking out wisdom. Thousands and thousands of books. All piled up on top of each other, filling the entire room. Need a ladder to get up there and get them. But the real wisdom is right here. It's seeking wisdom out of the Tanakh, the Torah, the Natsarim writings. That's where true wisdom is found. So wisdom is the Tanakh, the Torah, folks. It's Yahusha, the living words. Okay, if you want wisdom, that's where you find wisdom at. Alrighty, what the? Ooh, how'd that happen to me? Alrighty, let's go back. Yeah, here we go. We're back to normal. So anyway, sorry about that. I couldn't actually blow that up that way. So I guess I got to do it a different way. So here we go. I'm going to go ahead and invite and bring some people in, talk a little bit about this doctrine of demons, or Yahuah is a woman, or whatever, or anything else. You don't have to be about that. You can talk about whatever you want to. But so true people seek wisdom, like up here in this little box up here in the right-hand corner, seek wisdom. Yeah, That's the Torah. That's what who wisdom really is. That's what that was talking about. So if you want to call the Torah she, or she has much wisdom, that's just a figure of speech, man. That's all that really is. That just had in no way, shape, or form applying that Yahuah is a female. Come on, he's the husband. So there you go. Beware of that doctrine. Just in case you run across it like I did with an X, I guess I have to call him an Ex Natsarim, I guess, because he doesn't talk like a Natsarim anymore. Sad, but true. Just be aware of it, and don't fall for the snares of the devil. Don't run after false doctrine just to fit in. I have no desire to fit in to anything except for the way, onto that narrow path, straight path through the narrow gate. That's where we want to fit through. We don't need to fit into all these other different doctrines that are misleading people and leading them straight to the lake of fire where they're going. And Yahuah can have compassion and favor on whomever he wills. Whatever his pleasure is, it's his and his alone to decide. But I would use a lot of caution when you play with fire, because you just might get burnt. All right. Device not connected, Gibson girl. Device is not connected. You have to try again. Gibson girl, it says device is not connected, if you're hearing me. That means either your mic or your webcam or something's off, turned off on your laptop or whatever you're using there. Yeah, try it again. Turn on your webcam or your mic and then try it again. Anybody else coming on? Have a big conversation here about this false doctrine. Doctrine of demons is what I'd say it is. Called the doctrine of demons. All righty. Like I say, I got, I don't know, I'm being led by the Ruach here somewhat in the last several weeks to talk about all these translations are out there. And I think we're going to have that conversation here in the next few weeks. Yeah, try again, Gibson girl. Yeah, we'll wait on you. We ain't been on here that long. Been interested in meeting you, seeing what you got to share with us. Like I say, that all the another thing I want to kind of talk about too, maybe in the next few weeks, is the forbidden chapters of Scripture. There's certain chapters that are forbidden by the Orthodox Yehudim and also of the Circus Fathers. And a lot of people know about the forbidden chapter for the Orthodox Yehudim, but not many people know there's also a forbidden chapter for the Christianity, for the Circus Fathers. And they try to avoid it like the plague. So maybe we'll speak about them too in the next few weeks. Oh, I know. What I can tell you is that waiting on Gibson girl to come on, maybe. You want to try that again? I think maybe just your camcorder or your mic or something's turned off. I'm not sure what device you're using, if it's a laptop or your cell phone, whatever you're trying to do there. But something's turned off apparently. You got to go on there and then just follow the fonts. It should lead you right into the live chat, to the stream. There's a new website being worked on. Lou? Yeah, the forbidden chapters. We're going to get into it. I know you want me to talk about it now, but I want to save it. But anyway, just as a hint, Isaiah 53, we all know, is a forbidden chapter. They're not allowed, the people that attend the synagogues for the Orthodox Jews are not allowed. They're not allowed to read Isaiah 53, even at home. They're supposed to leave it alone. But there's also a forbidden chapter for Christianity, and we'll get in both of them and compare them and talk a little bit about it. It's a very interesting, very, very interesting topic. But anyway, I forgot what I was saying now. But anyway, Gibson girl, if you can get on, come on. Talk about it. I know what I was saying now. Yeah, Phyllis and Lou and Margaret and brother Matt and myself, we've all been speaking and talking a little bit about the new website coming up, the Natsarim community, a place where we can all go. It's study, congregate, find each other, search out other Natsarim, speak with Lou, speak with me, look up courses, take courses through the Lamb's Legacy Foundation, and just all kinds of stuff, even live chats, live congregations like this, live stream stuff, and scripture reading, questions and answer sections and sessions, questions and answers, and all kinds of really neat stuff. Even just to go in there and hang out with other Natsarim, hang out with the brotherhood, like-minded people, escape from the world. It's going to be a really nice thing for us all to be able to go there and just be among the Natsarim community. So there's a whole lot more coming out about that. I'm sure Lou is going to be posting a lot of things and speaking about it on his channel, his YouTube channel, Lou White. So you're going to want to go over there and visit that daily if you can. He puts out videos once or twice, 3 times a week, and most of us know that. Go over there and listen to his stuff, and he'll probably give you more information and a lot more information on it coming forth. But really cool thing, and everybody should be very excited. I'm very excited and ready to join in to the Natsarim community. We need it, and we need it bad, and we all need to participate and unite into one body, and that's a place we can go and do that at the Natsarim community website. All right, that's about all I know about it. Hey, Bruce. Hey, Brucey, man. What's up?
Good evening, Mark. I'm doing good. I'm enjoying my day. Some huge things that Yahuah has been doing and Yahusha has been helping me with.
All right, man. I want to hear about those.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And,
let's get into it.
Yeah, okay. Right away. Well, I had a meeting about my goals and about how much I've improved on some of them for this program, some of my goals for this program I go to.
Yeah.
This for people with disabilities. So I met a lot of them, and now one of them that I had a discussion with, people kind of get frustrated at me talking about my desire to get married or date, whatever, because I've never been in either position before. And I guess I had to had to delete contacts altogether from one of my friends that I've been talking about. I've been troubled by, from Anaheim. That's all I'll say, to be as broad as possible. I had to let her go, and I had to just delete her contacts. She doesn't even know, or maybe she does now, but that was the only way, because it's kind of creepy to be on the road and think I was going to get killed, And so I knew from Yahusha and through for a long chat with with the people who were at the meeting, a couple of days ago, that I had to do that. So it's still kind of there's a void there, but I'm glad that at least I can move forward. Yep. So, and also I'm gonna be seeing family tomorrow, and my birthday, even though it doesn't really have any meaning to me, the older I get, I'm gonna be hanging out with a few friends of mine on Sunday. And yeah, those are the new things going on, and I'm also and I really enjoy reading scriptures, and I start to read the Bible, the entire scriptures from beginning to end. I start to, and then I stop. So I have this desire and this urge to want to just read the whole thing, according to His will. That's what's been going on. And the last time that we were here, and I had to help a neighbor out because he needs more physical help than I do, and he just needed help with a few things, and lives, unfortunately, like I do. He lives by himself, so he kind of, I feel sorry for people who have to live by themselves or feel like they have to live by themselves and depend on people, and not know if they're dependable. So that's all I can think of for now to share.
Well, that all sounds pretty good, Bruce. I'm really, I'm really glad to see progress in you. That I've noticed a lot of progress in your desire to know Yahuah and
Mm-hmm.
your desire to enter into the one body of the Mashiach.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
The more and more that you open up your heart to Yahusha and let him in and ask him for favor, I think the more truth that will be revealed to you and all of us as we all do the same thing. And
Yep.
extremely important to stay focused on Yahuah, okay? And not so much yourself. Because
I know that's hard sometimes, but
I know, but
I know it's true.
I know, but what I'm trying to say,
Okay.
and I'm not just speaking to you, I'm speaking to me and everybody else too, is that Yahuah knows what we want before we even ask. And so it's okay to ask. We have to have the belief to ask, and that's fantastic. But we don't have to keep asking. But what we do have to do is keep praising, worshiping Him, and being thankful for what He does in our life, whether we perceive it as good or not, a blessing or not. Mm-hmm. And as we focus on Him and stay focused on Him, then He gives us all the other things that our heart desires, because He already knows what they are and He knows what we need. He knows the outcome of what you're asking too. Sometimes we ask for something, but we don't know what's going to happen if we get it. He does. So sometimes He says, "Oh no, you can't have that because if I give you that, this is going to happen." But we don't know that. He does. So what we have to do is ask and then accept His answer, whether He says yes and sends it to us, or He says no, you're not going to get that. We just accept His will and stay focused on Him more than ourselves. And actually, to go a little bit further on that, stay focused on others more than ourselves. We should put ourselves last, because then we'll be first in the kingdom. That's what He promised.
Because today, I mean, Yahusha really has worked on me the last couple of days. Once I let this woman go, because it's really important in the scripture of if you love only the people who love you, what good is that? Love others, and that's difficult for me when I feel overstimulated, or I'm aware spiritually what's going on with people, and I don't want to interfere and be their problem. That's how I felt about the woman that cut ties with. But Yahusha really has given me a huge thing. I know it's not going to be entirely easy, but it's to love one another, and also that if that love does not keep track of wrongs, right? But I now understand that in just a little bit that I have to love from a distance, but I can't see her anymore unless, of course, she's cleaned her life and he opens the door up. But I feel like I would be a burden to people in my life who have more problems than I do if I were to continue on with them. And that's why that's when I start putting up boundaries. So anyway, I think it's very healthy. I think to know, to be able to pray for someone and love them despite what they put you through. I think it's very important, and to forgive them even if you can't see them for a while or ever again.
Yeah, we all struggle with things like that. If we can practice and perfect and get perfect in our love, then what we can do is, and I've done this, and by no means is my list exhausted, but we can think of people in our lives that have done us wrong, or maybe we've done them wrong. And then we can go there and we can say, okay, I don't want to be a witness against this person, sin against me, or what they did against me. And I release them, and I forgive them, I release them, and even bless them. Ask you who would even bless them. And then you become like Yahuah, perfect in love. You go through each person as you can think of and do the same thing using their name, And what it's kind of like, it's like taking a field. It's overgrown, it's got, thorns in it and bristles and things like this. And what we kind of do is we take our field and we just plow it under. We just totally plow it under, and then we plant new seeds, and then Yahuah will bring up the new plants and give us a new garden, a more delightful garden, or an existence, if you will. You know what I'm saying? And so, but it starts off with pulling out all the old plants, getting rid of all the garbage that we're carrying around, and all the old baggage, we'll say. You're holding a grudge against somebody because they punched you in the nose in second grade. You should, release them of that. Forgive them, release them of that. Don't bother calling me as a witness against this person, because I don't want to testify against them. I forgive them of what they did. And I also release them of any damage, and I bless them and ask you to bless them exceedingly. As you go through that and you clean up your field, we'll say, and we plow all that under, and we have new clean soil, fresh soil. Now Yahuah starts planting good fruit, plants of good fruit in our garden, man, and we become a different field, if you will. We all have to do that. It's a continuous refining process that Yahuah takes us through, but we got to work too. We can't just sit there and say, "Clean me up, Yahuah." He'll throw things in our mind, and we have to regurgitate that. We have to replace that hate with love, and move on. Put it in the past where it belongs. We're now a new creature. We're no longer that old man, or that old person. We got to throw out what we've learned, what we've held, which held us captive, and all that, in order for Yahuah to be able to work with us on a higher level. And that's what we need to do, because we're new creatures. We are at a new level, a different level than the flesh, than the world is. And if we continue to do so, then we can start maybe getting a vision of the higher calling and start even pursuing that. And that's what all of the Natsarim need to do. We all need to reach for the higher calling.
I was leaving a message. I'm not sure if I can say this now about. Oh, actually, yeah, no, I still can. I saw one of Matt's newest posts. From End Time Watchman. I appreciate. I like to read his comments. And his posts. And all I can think of is that the Christians in my family, they know about some of my views and how they've changed, but then I kind of feel like, all right, I'll pray or listen. And then they called me on it, and I said this to Matt too today when I left a message on his post. They were, in a way, like the Christians in my family were actually kind of annoyed. They were using the name Yahusha and Yahuah because they know I use it. I'm kind of annoyed that I do, and they say that it's been replaced, that it replaced the J name. And then I think back to the day when the moment when I got rid of that religious title, Christian, I just altogether, because I know it's about a covenant relationship, and I just, and so they're pretty much saying that to make up my mind. Am I ever going to use the J name again? No, unless, of course, I am in the flesh with that person. Sometimes it slips. Or am I going to just keep on using the name Yahusha? Because otherwise I'll just not want to pray with me. I guess that's the only thing I can do. And I freeze because in the flesh, I'm thinking, I'm tired of all this. This is what I was saying for about 10 years or so, about when people would just say that some people I hang out with aren't Christian. I'm thinking, well, what does that mean? Define it then, if it really matters. They couldn't tell me what Christian actually means. There's too many different. But then I guess the frustrating part of it now is they realize Yahusha was hanging around people who didn't even have, who were down, like living in a low life, who were afflicted, or even prostitutes and tax collectors. He was hanging out with them to save them. It was never about religion. And I'm thinking, well, then define it. Then so I just burned out. And I realized at that moment, that when I was listening to Matt's testimony and also the scripture in First Kings, how long will you waver between two opinions? That in the moment was when I decided to pray about that. And I still love my family, but anyway, I need to face my discomfort. I'm kind of like borderline on like people pleasing in a sense, keep trying to be a peacemaker, being a peacemaker in a worldly sense, and I don't always realize that. So still at it, I know I've got a long way to go. I'm still, breaking some of the old traditional, man-made ways of thinking. I'm starting to, more things come to mind. So. Any thoughts?
Well, I think we've all struggled with family and friends and everything over the truth. Mm-hmm. But we have to get, we sooner or later, we get to this point in our walk with Yahushua, mm-hmm. that we understand that there are vessels made as treasured possessions, and there's vessels made for destruction. And then we get to start understanding that who are we, to question what Yahuah is doing. And mm-hmm. and so we kind of need to stop the trying to take over and tell people and try to tell people who, or decide who's saved and who isn't, mm-hmm. and because I am a firm believer myself that Yahuah can deliver anybody he wants to at any time. and he can resurrect and bring them into the reign. Anyone who has passed away years ago, he can do whatever he wants, man. And so once we understand that if I'm talking to a person and all of a sudden I see the switch go off and that person is either not hearing what I'm saying or doesn't want to hear what I'm saying or starts to defend a religious doctrine that they've been influenced by, immediately I know through discernment that that person is not one of his lost sheep. Okay, so I stop talking. Now, it doesn't mean that I'm correct. Maybe they are, but he just hasn't woke them up yet. But then again, maybe they're not. And so I'm just wasting my breath, because if the person I'm talking to is destined to the lake of fire, then I'm just beating my head against the wall by talking to them. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there comes a point, Yeah. And judging whether somebody is destined to the lake of fire or destined for everlasting life is not our. We don't have that ability, and it's not our business. That's strictly Yahuah's business, and Yahuah alone will decide who he brings into everlasting life with him and who he throws into the lake of fire. We can't judge it at all, period. We can look at somebody and say that person's for sure going to be in the kingdom, and maybe they won't, because some sins, some people's sins have been exposed now and forgiven, and some people's sins have not been exposed yet, which means they are probably not forgiven. See what I'm saying?
There's nothing that's covered now that won't be. So even if it's by category or specific, everyone's sin will be out in the open.
Yeah, he's gonna bring everything into the light, whether good or evil. It's all gonna be exposed. Wick on fire, glad you're here, brother. Got a song you want to sing for us, Wick? Got anything new? Yeah, Bruce, that's it's a hard pill to swallow, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Especially when you start talking about your family and your friends and stuff like that. But it's really weird, because there's certain people that the truth can be a two-edged sword. And I wielded that two-edged sword. I was slicing and dicing a lot of people, including myself, when I first started sharing the truth. I was going nuts. It's probably like most of us do, And so I was going nuts with that two-edged sword. It cutting both ways, you know what I'm saying? It was cutting them, but it was also cutting me because of the relationships it was cutting out of my life, so forth and so on, And it's a hard thing to really let go and say, take it from here, Yahuah. And since I was able to do that, and maybe some of you others have had the same experience, I'm starting to notice a change in some of the people that I was trying so hard to convert. When I took my hands off of it and give it to Yahuah, all of a sudden they're starting to come around a little bit, slowly but surely, but they're coming around, So sometimes we think that we have to do more than what we really have to do. But we definitely have to work the harvest. We can't be cowards. We can't be lazy. We got to be good workers. But we also have to know when to turn up the heat and when to turn the heat down too. Because we're not Yahuah. We're not Yahusha. We just work. We're their servants of righteousness. So we have to get to the point where we allow them to do their job through us, as we're just a conduit or the channel for them, relating to other people as they speak out to them and try to draw them nearer to them. And I mean, really, his kindness is probably the main thing. If you speak of his kindness to people,
Mm-hmm.
and it really attracts them. And it's kind of weird because I was reading scripture the other day, and I came across a verse that said that he will attract them with kindness. And I went, wow, master, it's in scripture, you know. So his kindness is what attracts him. His love, of course, and his peace and his and joy and stuff like in the promise. The promise of everlasting life attracts people. They all of a sudden they perk up when you start saying that, you know. And so maybe if we start talking about his kindness and what he has to offer them, the promise of everlasting life, and so forth and so on, maybe they'll be more prone to listen than when we're just beating them over the head with truth that we've new truth that we've discovered, and they're not ready for it. You know, they're not ready for all that meat. They're still, you got to give them a little bit of milk, drip some milk into their mouth, you know, instead of throwing
You
them the
know,
potatoes
when
out.
some,
Go ahead.
when somebody, when I noticed that when I think Yahushua for this a lot more now. When I have friends who really are at like a 10-year-old, sometimes a little bit less level of paying attention or processing things. So I think that sometimes if they can't process in their heads, because of their learning disability and in the flesh or whatever, what I'm saying, they tend to respond to the fruits of the Ruach a lot better than sometimes that in itself when they realize what the Ruach is doing and how it's how it's using me is enough for them, and sometimes and that in itself is like being a planter, you know, and then letting Yahuah let it make the seed grow, and it can take a couple of years. Sometimes you can take it like in that moment, and I just love to see that, and I actually about 3 days ago at a farmer's market when I was hanging out to keep warm, I was talking to somebody who was some denomination of Christianity. He accepted some of what I said, but then I could see that and that Satan twisted him around because it went from like giving some of the basis of what Yah means, that all the Yah names are I am, and then a proclamation. I was doing it like that, and the guy really didn't hear it right away. It was like it was like the man who scattered the seeds in each area where the seed landed. You know, it just represented the person's heart, and it just didn't. It just fell flat, really. I forgot. I keep forgetting what the seeds represent. After that fell on the thorns, the ground. And I forgot exactly what they are, what they represent. But the guy did not hear much of anything. He heard truth, but didn't stick with it. Instead, he kind of like agreed temporarily, but then through his own little man-made teaching. But unfortunately, didn't give any credit to his savior. He was to man. It's like, oh, no, man is not exactly right all the time. The greater that, because not all of us are supposed to be teachers, because otherwise the greater will be strictly will be judged. So I just will have mercy on that man, and I forgot his name, but I hope that he learns the error of his ways, and um, understands, that sometimes like we can't trust man to be right about everything. So I mean, I guess my harshness, if it sounds harsh, comes from believing what I heard and not testing it, or not finding any sort of resources that confirm what I've been told over the years. That's where I get harsh, and I get sorry it was perfectionist, but and I just hope that the man I talk to gets it, and his heart will be softened. Otherwise, then at least we can just say hi to each other, but not get into conversation. It fell on it fell on deaf ears. A lot of what I said. So.
Yeah, like I said, man, I mean, we don't know if we're talking to the lost sheep or not. We don't know if we're talking to a potential convert or not. Yahushua knows. Yahuah knows everything, but we don't. So all we can do is fish, throw out the line. You fish, throw out that line. You wait for something to bite, right? Mm-hmm. Kind of the same way with hunting. You creep around in the woods and, Wick, love you, brother. Glad you're here. And you walk around, you search for the game, and until you find it, and then you hunt through the woods, through the mountains, to the rocks and caves, whatever, searching out your game. And when you find it, you got it, you capture it. But the same thing we're doing is we're hunting and fishing, and we're working the harvest, which Yahuah told us to pray about that. He told us to pray for that the master of the harvest will send the workers. And so if there's workers out there trying to find the lost sheep, they're going to find some of them. The kingdom's going to grow. It's bound to. The more workers, the more people that can be found. The more hunters in the woods, more game's going to be collected, right? And more people that are fishing on the lake, the more fish are going to get caught, right?
Right. I'll make you fishers of men, and also the harvest is plenty, but the workers are few.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, and that's
why the master of the harvest is sending more workers. So Yahushua told us to pray about that. And so I think it's kind of like a pyramid type scheme, really, Bruce. If you kind of think about it, the more people that you touch, reach out to, and are able to convert. They go out and do it, and then it all kind of comes back down to you, and then you become a good servant of righteousness. Seriously, man. I mean, if you show up at the wedding feast and you have no one with you, you didn't do anything to increase his kingdom, you might be considered a worthless servant, and he's going to throw you out there in the outer darkness where there's going to be gnashing and weeping and gnashing of the teeth. See what I'm saying? So we have to bring people with us, man. We all do. We have to work it, man. No matter what you think, or even if you think it's not worth it or you're not doing anything, you just never know what something you said to somebody does to them. What change that makes in their life, even the littlest things. So we got to try, and we can't be afraid or to be discouraged. Wick, you got a song for us, brother? You got something new, man?
Brother Spark, how are you, man?
Well, man, I'm just running the course, running the race of endurance, brother, trying to keep my head above the water.
Hi, Bruce, how are you?
He talking to you, Bruce.
Oh, sorry. I didn't hear that. I'm actually enjoying myself, it's relaxing.
Yeah, I love the Sabbath.
Yeah, so.
You and me both, especially today, man. I worked hard all week.
You and me both. So, yeah, I think I got one or two I haven't played on here, probably.
Well, we'd love to hear them. I'm going to mute my mic so that you can entertain the Natsarim and Yahushua.
Will you go ahead and mute all mics and then just...
All right, I'll use...
Thank you. So this one's called Save Me Today. Of a man, take me as I am, show me the way, save me today. make me strong. Teach me your song. I'm a mess of a man. Take me as I am. Right on my wrong. Teach me your song. What should I do? What can I say? Show me the way. Save me today. I'm a mess of a man. Take me as I am. Show me the way. Save me today.
And I was feeling that one, brother. I was thinking, boy, he's singing about me in this one.
I feel that 100%.
Yeah, that was nice, man. I like the beat on that one.
Yeah, thank you so much. So, I do got a new one. I got lyrics anyway. I don't have music yet. I might have some music, but I don't have it put together. But I'd like to read it.
Yes, sir.
Am I coming through clear?
Yes, you are. Let me mute my mic.
It does not yet have a title either, so. They think they have the right to take away what makes us free. I pray in your might, open their eyes that they may see. They can never take your holy word, your word away from me. Yahushua, may my songs for you echo for eternity. I hope my words ring true. Sounds familiar, maybe. It's a puzzle, here's a clue. Resurrected will be, raised again and made brand new to rest beneath the shade tree. Yahushua, you're my holy priest. I sing for you so freely. At his table awaits a feast, and I speak quite frankly. All are invited, save for the beast.
That's got potential. I can't imagine how you write words and then put music to them. I'm not very musical inclined myself. I love music. I love to listen to it. I just don't understand it.
It happens in multiple ways for me, kind of. Sometimes it's words. Well, the majority of the times it's the words first.
Yeah.
Sometimes, rarely, it's the music, and on a special occasion, you get both at once. But it's a gift, really. I can't really take any credit for any of it because it just kind of happens. Even though I do work hard at it and I do practice and all that, it's really, I know I'm not really capable of all this.
Yeah, I don't know what we do without music in this world.
Yeah, amen to that.
Universal language, you know. I don't think I've ever met anybody that didn't like music that I can think of.
Be a rare soul indeed.
Yeah. So you got another one for us, brother?
Yeah, I'll play one more, then I gotta go because I gotta do my show.
Okay. I come over there. I try to come over and watch you when I get a chance.
Yeah, I know you do. I appreciate you, brother.
I've been so busy lately, man. I haven't even been able to see sideways. So. All right, I'm gonna mute my mic.
I do know the feeling. So this one's one of my favorites, and it's called Selah. All right, here we go. Sorry about that.
so much, brother.
Thank you so much, brother.
Right on time, too. Yeah, that's a beauty, man. I like that one. Yeah. Kind of used to try to write poems and lyrics and stuff for songs years ago. Matter of fact, I did write a book of poems and lyrics years ago. I never got it published. I did put some on the internet on some poetry outlet type deal. And
Poetry.com.
yeah, I think it was.
Yeah, I've got two poems on there actually.
Yeah, I got quite a few on there, but I think they're archived now.
I submitted two. I got I got Editor's Choice Award for the second one.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, this was a long time ago for me, but I was, I was into it for some reason. I don't know, just part of my life, what I was going through at the time, I guess.
This was in like 2003, 2004 for me.
Yeah, and I don't even remember who it was for me, but it was back in the '90s for sure. But yeah, I wrote a whole book of poems, man. I got it around here somewhere.
I'd like to hear a couple of them.
Yeah, if I find it, I'll look up a couple good ones and send you the lyrics. Maybe make a song out of it or something.
That'd be cool.
I got one called the Potato Chip Man.
Sounds groovy.
Groovy, man.
That's great.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun. Writing's fun. I used to like to write and read a lot, but anymore, man, I just, you get kind of burnt out a little bit sometimes on things. I just don't do a whole lot of that anymore.
I don't really sit down to write. It just kind of comes to me, and I got to get it down and out, and that's it.
Yeah, you got a gift for it. Lou wrote, I don't know how many books Lou has written, but man, I don't know.
Oh, tomes, I know.
That's an achievement right there, because I've tried to write one, man. It was everything I had to even get close to getting it done, So.
And to put it all in a way that makes sense,
Yeah. And it takes a lot of perseverance, man, a lot of dedication to do something like that. You got to stick right with it, force yourself to continue,
Have you ever just put the words down and let somebody else write some of the music, like kind of collaborate with others that way? Or do you just like to do all the music yourself with the words?
I have done some collaborations.
Okay.
Yeah, there's quite a few people that are just writers. They write songs and send them to people that they think would do a good job playing them and singing them. Some of them become hits, some don't. A lot of good songwriters out there. Better songwriters than singers, huh?
In the format I put together, I don't mind just doing it. Yeah. And like I really enjoy doing it. That's why I do it. I'm not looking to get anything else out of it,
Yeah. What I like yours is the praise and esteeming Yahuah.
And that's it. That's all it needs to be. Speaking
a lot of truth too, like that one about loving your enemy. Please bless my enemy. Is that
bless my enemies.
Yeah, that's a good one, man. That's got a lot. That's powerful lyrics in that song, man. It takes a lot of courage and strength to be able to bless your enemy. It really does.
I think you got to live like you don't have any.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, to even call another human being our enemy is probably not a wise thing to do. But yeah, I mean, you call your brother your enemy and you do the same things that he does. You know what I'm saying? Kind of hypocritical, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, well,
Paul was very open about hypocrisy and wouldn't accuse anybody of who he lived like. It's only the hypocrisy of the person. I think it's really important to not I mean to point out hypocrisy. When we know we should, but also just don't act high and mighty in any area that we might be actually better than someone else. But don't be high and mighty about it. But, I think just be humble because it can take anyone can put any one of us in check. If we behave a certain way, we're called out in hypocrisy. I think anyone can do that, according to Yahuah's will. So we're all it's all part of the fall, and that's all part of the fall. None of us were made perfect after Adam and Eve.
all fall short.
Yeah. So just keep humble, and allow yourself to learn from everybody. Because I think more and more, that every experience, whether it's about fear and you want to stay away from somebody, or it's somebody who you don't always get along with, but you have to listen to them and be with them. You're in their life for a reason. Even those you really enjoy, I think every single person on this planet that we come across, there's a reason that Yahuah wants us to be around that particular person that we see. It's because they need prayer. They need to be seen a good example of how to live. So I don't know. I mean, I certainly don't want to be idolized. It's like, don't do that with me at all. I mean, I can be a pain in the neck and judgmental when I shouldn't be. Oops, and I get hard on myself sometimes. But everybody is, we all have room to learn from every single person that we come across.
The more humble we can be, closer to Yahuah we can get. Because if you really think about it, look at what happened with Yahuah. He humbled himself and came down in the form of the likeness of a man, and became a servant, humbled himself even to death, stake in the form of a man. The Almighty Creator did that. Now, if he can humble himself to that low of a point, man, then we need to learn to humble ourselves even more so than what he did.
What's amazing about the scripture with Yahusha was actually feeling the terror of being crucified. He felt the terror. He understood that it was prophesied, but he went as low as saying, "If it is not as I will, but your will." He surrendered it to Yahuah. Whoa, that's an example of strong faith, the kind of faith that we need to have.
Oh yeah. Yep. If we can, humble ourselves and act accordingly to the way Yahushua walked, and humble ourselves and be like him, walk the way he walked. That's the goal, man. I mean, and then there's a verse in I think Corinthians, 1 Corinthians somewhere, that speaks about the fragrance of people who have the Mashiach in them, and Yahuah can smell. They smell like, and even to other people, he can smell your Mashiach's fragrance in you, and then to other people, will you smell like life to life, or death to death? You really think about that, man. That's a really humbling thing.
Follow your nose.
Yeah, follow your nose, man. I mean, that's a humbling thing right there to just think about that. The Yahuah can smell the Mashiach in you. Wow, man. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's 2 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 15. It says, Because we are to Yahuah the fragrance of Mashiach among those who are being delivered and among those who are perishing. To the one we are the smell of death to death, and to the other the fragrance of life to life. And who is competent for these? For we are not as so many selling the word of Yahuah, but as of sincerity, but as from Yahuah, in the sight of Yahuah, we speak in Mashiach. Wow, man. In sincerity, we speak of it in sincerity, not for personal gain. Because you sincerely believe in Him, trust Him, love Him, worship Him, all that stuff. So yeah, we have a fragrance, man. You know, not only to Yahuah, smells Mashiach, but to other people, man. So to some people, you know, we smell like death, and to other people, we smell like life. So who would that be, Bruce? Who do you think the people are that smells that we smell like death to? Who do you think that is?
The one that smell like death, well, the ones that
world?
don't have any spirit in them,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But then the ones who smell like life, you know, and pleasant to be around, I think that those who people are drawn to the quickest, you know.
I'd say to the Natsarim, we would smell like life. To the world, we would smell like death, right? Because they're smelling the fragrance of the Mashiach.
Or the living, or the dead.
Yeah, they're smelling the Mashiach. You know, so
Brother, I gotta go, man.
he's the
Much
one that
love.
gives life and death. You know.
I appreciate you.
All right, Wick. Thanks for coming on, singing for us, brother. Come back again, man. Bring that new song back when you get it done.
Oh, you know I will.
Yeah, man. Looking
Sorry I've
forward
been
to that.
so busy. I missed the last couple weeks, but appreciate you. I pray about you. I think about you. So,
Yeah, same here.
all right, y'all. Be blessed. Say live.
Wow, brother. So yeah, I mean, like I said, Bruce, I think that's you know, the Mashiach in us. He's the life. He's the judge. I mean, he's the one that judges whether we have life or death. I mean, we choose life and death, but he's the ultimate judge. You know.
Part of it is life and death are in the tongue, and the power of life and death are in the tongue. And those.
I mean, what I'm saying is, wouldn't somebody that he's into you and they smell it, the Mashiach, and they're not a believer or follower, so they follow Satan or whatever. Wouldn't you smell like death to them because that's their destiny? They know they're going to die and be annihilated. See what I mean? And then somebody who is a believer and who is following after the Mashiach, wouldn't the smell of Mashiach in you be a smell of life because they're going to receive eternal life? You know, I think that's what that verse is like talking about. But man, it's kind of humbling, really, if you really consider it.
You know, think of one of the things going on that is this. I have to give credit to and joy and thanks to Yahushua. Is that one of the goals I have is volunteering, and to be able to volunteer at this hospice shop, there's I get there's a joy in being able to contribute to the community, to doing it cheerfully. So I kind of forgot about that because it's been a long time since I took advantage of volunteering. So it's a good joy to be able to. It's a tremendous joy to be able to help people out, and not have to do it for money. I'm not desperate for money. Yahushua has helped me to not worry about money. There's a deadline to be met. Other than that, I'm just very, very grateful for that. That's the joy about being volunteering these days. So I'm looking forward to doing that more often.
Right. Yeah, Bruce. Do you have the BYNV yet?
I've had it for a while. I don't read it every single day,
Uh-huh.
but I do have it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to hear that you're reading it more and more. Make it maybe slowly convert over to using that. And I mean, you understand all the verbiage in it, don't you? I mean, it seems like you do.
All the what?
The verbiage in it. I mean, the Hebrew stuff like arets and shemayim and all that.
Some of them I forget what they are. So I have to look at another version that has that.
Yeah.
I like that has the English version of. So yeah.
I hear you. Yeah, I used to do that
Not
too.
all of it, but I really, what really helps, whoever's listening, if Lou or Phyllis, if you're listening, what I really enjoy about that book is that each book has the Hebrew spelling, but then also the English translation too. That's pretty cool to learn a language like that. So, translating it to like that helps me out. Like, okay, like one of the greatest names I've to come across to me that's stuck in my head is Nehemiah. Just I am who comforts, or I am your comforter. So I really like that name. So.
Yeah.
So anyway, there's a lot of stuff to read, and and I forgot, like in my early days when I was associating with religion, I remember like reading the Bible but with joy at everything I read, and but now it's like it's almost like robotic, and sometimes where I'm just it's not getting through to me certain scriptures. So I just keep reading them over and over again. Yahushua's bringing in the same scriptures to my mind and to have me read, because I haven't acted accordingly yet. Like Malachi was one of my all-time favorite books.
Yeah, Malachi's got a lot of action in it, no?
Yeah, Malachi is one of the greatest books I've ever read, and I never get tired of it because it is about covenants and the way they start, and also that we're a covenant breaking race, a creation, and he warns us not to do that, so that's why I love reading that. Also, that's a good thing to read. We have to be careful with our words. That's another reason to be careful with our words, because what we promise, that starts, in a sense, that's a form of starting the covenant, with people.
Right.
So that's why we have to know how to be. That's why we're expected to keep our promises, a lot more, and we break them. Well, Yahuah hears it, Yahuah sees. So anyway, it's good, and I don't really know what else to add, because I've said enough today.
Yeah. Yeah, if you can got time to do it, man, try to kind of slowly converge over into using that BYNV more and more and more, because it gets to where it's easier to understand. It's really weird, man. A lot of the times I would read scripture, the books or the epistles, the letters seemed long,
Mm-hmm.
And so like, boy, it takes forever to read them. But now it seems like they're too short. If I read them now, it's like, man, there's only like 3 or 4 chapters in this, or whatever. But or 10 chapters. It's just like they're really short, And so it's like my mind, the way of thinking has changed about it. It's not too long anymore. They're actually too short.
Well, Obadiah is actually, I think, the shortest one, or Obadiah is probably like the shortest.
Yeah.
Like, isn't it just like one page?
I mean, Timothy's only 4 chapters, and Titus is 3. Philemon's 1. It's like these things are short, man.
Uh-huh.
Why did I think they were so long before? Probably because didn't quite understand them. I would think it's probably what the difference is. People read through it and don't really understand what they're reading. It seems real long and hard, but when you read through it and you understand, and it's made clear, and the pronunciations are correct and everything like that, it's almost like it's too short. You got to just keep reading in more and more and more. But that's what the BYNV, I think, does. It clarifies a lot of what people perceive as confusion, and hard to understand stuff, and so many people, they say, oh, every time I read it, I get something else out of it, and I think the BYNV takes a lot of that out of the way, so if you can do it, man, if you got the time, try to converge over.
I have so many hours
at BYNV. You'll get that point. I'm telling you, 'cause I did. I got to the point where I said, okay, this is all I need to read now. I don't need to look at any of these other ones,
Mm-hmm.
You'll get there too. You just keep working at it. But going back to what you were saying earlier, I was looking for this response and I found it in 2 Timothy 14, 2:14.
Mm-hmm.
It says, remind them of this, earnestly witnessing before the master not to wage verbal battles, which is useless to the overthrowing of the hearers. So,
yeah, I'm going to say you can waste your words, right?
Yeah, it overthrows their hearing, Once it becomes a quarrel or a verbal battle, and and they start defending that doctrine that they've been taught, raised up on or something, or they, you see their eyes turning red, like they're not listening anymore. Mm-hmm. It's time to stop, because if you don't, you're going to create a division between you and them. And then they're going to, instead of looking at you for somebody that can share a truth that they've never heard, they look at you like you're a whack job or something, a wacko. Here comes that wacko. You know what I mean? Because they remember that verbal battle. So that's the thing we have to try to avoid, I think, the most. You know what I mean?
Who was it in Acts? Was it Agrippa who had said that I think it was Paul that he was saying that he was mad, like he was talking crazy with all this learning, has made him crazy, and
that's when he was on in front of that trial in Acts, somewhere in Acts there.
Yeah, and he basically said, at some point you would make me a Christian, and when now that knowing that the original use of that was meaning like idiot, stupid, whatever, it's like, oh, okay, well, this. I appreciate more that not having to memorize every specific word in Hebrew and understand that there are things that are synonymous, because then that way it's a way of like not arguing over words. I know berit is the original word instead of covenant or agreement or vow, promise, whatever. But I think it would confuse people, because a lot of people don't know that kind of, that word berit. But when it comes to certain words, like, like especially Natsar or Yah, all the Yah names, yeah, just give them a little bit of like what that means, but not defend the entire language.
Yeah.
Don't make it like a Hebrew language lesson. Just a little bit at a time matters. But otherwise, to me, it's like the Hebrew roots. And I've seen videos on people with like in the Hebrew roots movement, and I'm not trying to be that. I don't think Yahusha or Yahuah want me to be a Hebrew roots, have the Hebrew roots approach. You just, cause more division.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, okay, so to continue on with this Second Timothy, it says, it's kind of like right on what you're saying here, Bruce. Do your utmost to present yourself approved to Yahuah, a worker who does not need to be ashamed, rightly handling the word of truth. Keep away from profane, empty babblings, for they go to more wickedness, and their word shall eat its way like gangrene. Humanios and Philetos are of this sort, who have missed the goal concerning the truth, saying that the resurrection had already taken place and overthrown the belief of some. However, the solid foundation of Yahuah stands firm, having this seal. Yahuah knows those who are his. And let everyone whose names the name of Mashiach turn away from wickedness. But in a large house there are not only vessels of gold and silver, but also of wood and clay, some to value and some to no value. And we are the vessels. If then anyone cleanses himself from these things, he shall be a vessel to value, having been set apart of good use to the master, having been prepared for every good work. And flee from the lust of youth, but pursue righteousness, belief, love, peace, and those calling on the master out of a clean heart. But refuse foolish and stupid questions, knowing that they breed quarrels. And a servant of the master should not quarrel, but be gentle towards all, able to teach, patient when wronged, in meekness instructing those who are in opposition. Least somehow, Yahuah gives them repentance to a thorough knowledge of the truth. And they come to their senses out of the snare of the devil, having been taken captive by him to do his desire. So see, you never know who you're talking to. You know, it could be someone that he hasn't called out yet. You be talking to a brother that it just hasn't woke up yet. You know, so you have to be careful. Don't turn him against you by quarreling over foolish babblings and stuff like this. You know, so what I do, man, what I've learned to do is once they start defending a doctrine, a religious doctrine, you know, or start arguing about, you know, if I read something and they want to flip through there and find another verse to try to contradict what I just said, I'm done. Because all that's going to lead to is hatred and strife, man. They're not going to listen to you anymore. You're done, you know, because they're just going to see you as the wacko. You know, here comes the wacko, you know, that Judaizer, you know, or whatever, you know. He's in the cult, something wrong with him. He's joined the cult, you know. And that's what they're going to remember. They're going to get that opportunity back, and you might have just made that person stumble who is a Natsarim but just hasn't been woke up yet. So we got to handle them kind of gingerly with kid gloves, you know, and not dump on them too hard.
You know, a couple of days ago,
Yahushua doesn't need us, man. He doesn't need us to do it. He can wake up and save anybody he wants to. You know what I'm saying? So we got to remember that. Just be a peaceful, humble servant of righteousness and let him teach through us. And hopefully something that falls on their ears through him channeling through us and speaking to them through us wakes them up. And then they start seeking truth on their own. Because that's what they really need to do. It's like somebody trying to smoke cigarettes. You can't help them stop smoking cigarettes. They got to want to stop smoking cigarettes. Same with the truth, you know, and salvation and following Yahuah. They got to want to do it. Okay? They have to want to do it, man. It's how bad do you want it? How bad do you want salvation? How bad do you want to know your Creator? You know, they have to want it really bad enough to pursue it on their own. And that's probably what he's waiting on. But we can help wake them up with our words, you know, if we choose them wisely and carefully. And the best thing to do is that Yahushua speak through us and try not to ramble or babble on about things that we think's important, or try to, show off and let them see how much we know, that they don't know. And that's just bad medicine right there. You're not going to wake nobody up doing that. They're just going to just quarrel with you. That's all that's going to do is lead to strife. That's all.
Well, on Tuesday at the farmers market down here, I heard this woman. No, it was on a Saturday. I think it was last Saturday. I got for the first time bothered that these Christians were praying amongst themselves, and then kind of like almost like Pharisaic. They love to be out like in the open to see everybody's praying. So that everybody knows that they're praying, or they're making these long prayers. And then they go to one of my friends. And I guess there's a definitely like from as he was born, he gets easily like confused and almost like believes everything that he hears. And this woman just came up to him, started praying in the J name, believing that the coronavirus or that these viruses the coronavirus itself, that it was sent by Satan. And I'm thinking, I could not accept that as truth one bit, because it was it's in the Revelation. Death, the spirit of death, was allowed to take a third of the earth by pestilence, by wild animals. I forgot what else it says in it, but anyway, just to me, all I could discern was like was a horseman, the horseman death, and we can't stop prophecy. So I just have to be patient, Yeah, I like that. Quick to hear and slow to speak, and I had to wait, to respond to that, because I knew that it was pretty quickly, not right away, but I knew pretty quickly that it was one of the four horsemen, death. He's allowed to do that, and we're not supposed to interfere with prophecy. We will. Anyone who tries to interfere with prophecy will always fail at that. Yahuah will not let it happen. That much I know. I'm not sure how long it takes to fulfill certain prophecies, but he wouldn't let that happen. So anyway, hopefully the woman that was doing the preaching and praying over my friend, hopefully hopefully Yahuah will move on her to acknowledge that that scripture. And then just another thing is just that do you not know the scriptures? This makes me think that one saying that Yahushua has said, you do not know the scriptures. We're asking, do you not know that it is written? Makes it critically important more and more to actually know what scriptures to use in order to speak the truth and defend the faith and encourage people to come to him. We have to know the scriptures and how to use them. So I hope that woman that I saw understands soon how to use scripture. But because I felt that there was a spirit of error when she did that.
Yeah, we all need to study scripture more and pray every day, especially, and pray for discernment, between good and evil, the spirit of delusion, spirit of truth. We can recognize it immediately, same as we can recognize, anger or hate or something, any type of the fruits of the flesh that start to come out in us, and we can recognize it as the flesh immediately, and then to shut it down immediately is the trick, and if we can control it as soon as we recognize it, so we don't sin, don't allow the flesh to sin. Let's put it that way. But,
I have to do that a lot in the area of like loneliness, marriage, everything that goes with it. So I still have to do that sometimes, and it's I've felt it for over 20 years, so I get it. I got one that's heavy for me, but just
and well, the same on the other side of the coin is recognizing the fruits of the Spirit.
Mhm.
When we have, we can have His peace, and we can have His joy, we can have His love, through Him, because if He's in us, those are His fruits, so we can experience those fruits in our life, and recognize them in others quickly and act on them, because that Yahusha's in that person, and then that's a brother, then the person that's in the body, so you recognize the Spirit of truth immediately through those fruits, and you also can have them yourself. I mean, you can be joyous, and you can be a loving person, and you can be gentle and patient and kind and all that, because of who's in you. You can have His fruits because He put them in you when He's dwelling in you, so they can be yours as well. If you let the flesh lead you around by the nose, then you're going to be producing the fruits of the flesh, which aren't too nice.
I guess one way of being able to really try to live as the Spirit lives is being around the children and their innocence. To see them not with every subject, but to see how children think, and how their faith is pretty high, and they have like a childlike faith. Just the way they perceive things, innocent, makes me in a way want to also read the Besorah and other versions of the Bible I have, to understand and pray for wisdom on how everything that Yahuah has made is still pure in His eyes, because I know that Satan tried to ruin and pervert His creation, but in a way, kids are an inspiration to me, to be able to see, with everything that Yahuah has created good, it has never stopped being good altogether. And so how is that? How is that so? So I'm trying to look at people's innocence like that to learn. I'm actually very grateful for it. I start thinking about my niece and nephew, because they're going to have a lot of questions as they get older. And they're not even 10 years old.
Yeah. I remember the days that I was more innocent than I am now. Now I have all the stuff that I've seen or heard over the years that I wish I wouldn't have seen or heard, because I can't get it out of my mind. It's in there somewhere.
Yep.
It's in a great while it'll surface and haunt me. I wish I'd never seen that or heard that. I didn't have that in my mind. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But just, when we live on this world, that's bound to happen to you. And I think we all carry around some experiences that we wish we wouldn't have ever had, have to deal with the rest of our life. But it's just something that you just try to rebuke it and block it out, man. It's best you can really do. But my grandson, I got an 8-year-old grandson. I got him a little ATV to ride. And I had one of the loose stickers. It's just a little sticker. It looks like the Natsarim flag with the menorah on it, and says Yahuah on it, and in Paleo Hebrew. And so I took this little sticker and I said, "You want me to stick this right here on his little handlebar guard, for the mud don't splash up on him?" I said, "You want me to stick this Yahuah sticker on here for you?" He says, "Oh no, Paul." I says, "Why not?" I thought he was going to say he didn't believe in Yahuah or something, you know what I mean? So I'm like, "Why not?" He goes, "Because if I go through a mud puddle and I splash mud up on that Yahuah sticker, Yahuah probably won't like me getting his name dirty." That came out of the mouth of an 8-year-old child, dude. That blew my mind. So yeah, they're innocent, but they also have a lot of belief too, man. I mean, you know, he doesn't doubt you at all. Matter of fact, I'll tell you something else about him. This happened last week. We were out here on my porch, and me and him was putting some rocking chairs together. And the wind started blowing about 30, 34 mile an hour or something, you know. And I looked up, and it was just starting to get dark, and you could see clouds just rolling in really fast up in the sky. Mm-hmm. And I said, "Uh-oh, here comes that storm." And I said, "Yahuah, can you please calm the storm for us?" And he looked up at me, and he looked up at the clouds, and he goes, "Yahuah, hold back the rain." And you know what, dude? That storm went away and it never rained. And they were calling for rain, thunderstorms. It went away, dude. It was thunderstorming all over the place. But it didn't rain here. Matter of fact, there was some horrible weather up in Kentucky. That's crazy, man. That blew my mind, dude. I mean, it did not rain a drop when that boy said that. So, yeah, the belief of a child is amazing.
Interesting that the first thing that comes to mind on that is how it says that you only that there is no way to Yahuah except for Yahusha, and he prayed directly to Yahuah, and that prayer was answered. You know, there's still a lot to learn in my faith. I mean, I don't know everything about the Bible, not even half of the scriptures, but I mean, interesting, you know?
Yeah, I mean, you read about prophets and people in scriptures, you know, praying that it didn't rain, and it didn't rain for 3.5 years, you know. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I mean, if you believe like a child, I think you do. I mean, you could do a lot of different things through Yahusha. Of course, it's Yahusha doing it through you, you know. Yeah, but it's not you doing it, it's Yahusha, but still, he can do that, or at least put it this way. He's willing to do it through your belief, or because of your belief. He's willing to do it, which you ask, you know.
It reminds me that there was a woman who was like a churchgoer and very kind of like obsessed over trying to get me to go to her church. I remember one day, when I still knew the J name, you know, I still remember praying to actually, like, on a different level I had ever prayed before. You know, and I only did it once. It was asking that I'd be invisible to this woman. And for 2 months, I had seen her off and on, you know, in passing. But then when she realized that it was not really fair for her to expect me to go to her church or whatever, to keep bugging me about it, she actually said she hadn't seen me for 2 months. It's like I saw her off and on for 2. So it's just, I guess it was Yahuah's will, you know, for that prayer to be answered, you know, on a different way than I ever thought. In fact, I let my tongue loose to pray in tongues a little bit, which I have a desire to do more often, and ask for the interpretation. And the only thing I can think of that Yahuah wants me to say is that he allowed me to understand that all of the words I was speaking with it, almost kind of like the Paleo Hebrew in a sense. He was telling me to, like, he was saying to rest, you know, and rest in the home, you know, use your tongue, use my time wisely, you know. And so there's a lot of ways that Yahuah wants us to know what his will is, you know, and we can't, you know. So I just thought that those two examples would be a good example of, like, faith, stepping up in faith, and seeing the results for His honor and glory.
Yeah, if you ask something in His name, and you believe it's going to happen, or better yet, believe it already happened, and just go about your business, and you never question Him or ask for that same thing again, that's showing quite a bit of belief. If you keep, say you ask for something, and then it didn't happen, so the next day you ask, the next day it's asked, next day you ask, sooner or later, man, you're going to have to start to question your belief, man. What are you doubting that He can do it? Why you keep asking Him? You know what I mean? And it may be weaken your position as far as belief goes. I think,
Well,
or you're going to start sounding like a little spoiled brat to Him, like a little tear. I want, give it to me, Yahuah. I want. I mean, he probably gets sick of hearing that too. That drives me crazy. A little kid starts crying, wanting something won't stop.
Well, Yahushua did say, as an example of the parable, a man would come up to asking for a loaf of bread or 3 loaves of bread, and that because of a neighbor or somebody who had come to visit him, and that the man would actually have to open up his door or window, open up his door to hand him the bread, even though it was at night. He would actually have to do it, because I forgot exactly how that. I'm going to get the Besorah right now and read what it says. Oh, do you know where I'm actually talking about, though? Because
yeah, what are you talking about? Say it again.
The parable where Yahushua was saying that like somebody would go up to a house asking for 3, like a loaf or 2 or 3 of bread, and the guy opens up and says, "Sorry, I can't do that. We're closed for the night," and keeps asking, and eventually the guy who owns the house will come down and give it. Not just
yeah. I know what you're talking about now. Yeah, I'm not sure where that is. I think it's in Matthew somewhere, but I'm not positive on that parable. Yeah, I know which one you're talking about, though. Which is a good point, because I imagine if you keep asking for something, maybe He'll get sick of hearing you ask and give it to you to get you to shut your mouth. That's a possibility too. That goes both ways. With me, even with a child, sometimes I get tired of hearing them ask, so I get it for them just to shut them up. I'm done. I don't want to hear it no more, right? And then there's other times where I just take it and spank them or something because I'm done listening to it. So it can go both ways on you. He can get hold of you and spank you too. Being acting like a spoiled brat. So it can go either way. Depends probably on his mood, just like it does ours. We're made in His essence. So I think we kind of project Him in certain ways. You know what I'm saying? We're bound to. We're especially. If you're born from above, if you're reborn, you've went through the rebirth, born from above, born of water and spirit. He becomes your father. You take on His characteristics, man. It's what it's all about. The sons of light get revealed, and through His character, His spirit, spiritual fruits, His character is shown through us, man. So we behave like Him in some ways. I'm not saying all ways. Mankind has his ways too. Where it says in there that our mind is not His. His mind, His ways are not our ways.
My thoughts higher than your thoughts.
Yeah, my thoughts are higher than your thoughts.
Yep.
So, yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of different circumstances on how he's going to react to certain things we do. He's not going to act the same towards something I do as he would something you do. Things like that as well. So,
Well, I'm reading now. I'm not saying that they don't write Yahusha, but I like BibleHub.com is pretty good for cross references and context. And so it's Luke 11 verse 5. So it's then Yahusha said to them, "Suppose you have a friend and you go to him at midnight and say, 'Friend, lend me 3 loaves of bread. A friend of mine on a journey has come to me and I have no food to offer him.' And suppose the one inside answers, 'Don't bother me. The door is already locked and my children and I are in bed. I can't get up and give you anything.' I tell you, even though he will not get up and give you the bread because of friendship, yet because of your shameless audacity, he will surely get up and give you as much as you need. So I say to you, ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and the door will be open to you." So that was Luke 11 verse 5 through 9.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that parable, and I think there's different. You can take that several different ways. I'd have to read the whole thing in total context, but I'm familiar with what you're saying, and it does sound like it's be persistent. Pray continuous type thing. Pray continuous, be persistent, stay focused on Yahuah. Don't take your attention off of Yahuah. Live for Him. This type of thing. But it also, goes off the other end of the spectrum where he says, don't pray in vain repetition like the heathens do, because your Heavenly Father knows what you want before you even ask. So, you sit there and play with a rosary or whatever, and you're saying a prayer and you're praying for the same thing over and over, and just continuously. He tells us not to do that too, So it's a thing. It's just a thing that's in there that's found in context. Best thing to do is read the entire chapter, or the one before it and the one after it, and to get a better idea of the conversation and the circumstances surrounding that parable, what brought it about, things like that, and why did he say it, who he said it to, things like that. Sometimes can put it in more perspective, But it does sound like that. It's reading that, just what you just read. It's more of a lesson, I think, of persistence, persevere. Stay in close contact with Yahuah. Pray continuously, stuff like that. I think that's probably the lesson on that parable. Really interesting.
All right, well, I'm going to get going, but it's been a blast.
All right, Bruce. Appreciate you coming on, sharing your thoughts.
You're always welcome.
Your wisdom.
Thank you.
And your belief with us.
Thank you.
And I hope that as time goes on, your family and your loved ones come around a little bit more each day, and pretty soon maybe you guys can be in agreement.
Yeah, I hope so, because it's kind of hard to sit back and watch when they're the ones that help me in my life with some of what I need, but they know that I don't pray any longer to who they do. It was just like, anyway, so.
I get you.
Yep.
All right, brother. Thanks for coming on, man. I'll see you next week.
Yep. All right. Good night.
Nice to see you, Bruce.
You too. Good night.
Good night. All right, guys. We're wheeling down here now. Almost been on for 3 hours. So I think I'm going to sign off and thank everyone in the chat room. Been chatting up a storm tonight and getting along on there. Looks like everybody's been getting along, showing lots of love and everything toward each other, which is really nice to see. And everybody seems to be at peace and united. So that's a good thing to see. And next week, I'm not real sure what we're going to have a Torah portion on, but maybe we'll get into the translations. But we'll see what Yahushua has for us, and we'll follow his lead like always. And so thanks a lot for everybody that came on tonight and spoke live. Thanks, Wick, for sharing his new song with us and his new lyrics, new song he's working on. And brother Dehome Sanders from Jamaica, glad to see you, brother. And Gibson girl, sorry you couldn't get on here. Try to see if you can work on that, whatever the technical device problem was, and maybe you can come on next week and share with us your thoughts and whatever you wanted to talk about. And RT, I'll be talking to you tomorrow. I'll probably give you a call, and or you can call me, either one. And Lou and Phyllis, thanks for coming on. Thanks for your support. And Baruch Yahuah, I'll be praying for you. That nervous condition, the nerves, the pain, maybe neuropathy, possibly. Pray to Yahushua for some healing for you. And you pray too. I have a little bit of neuropathy myself. I know some other people that suffer with that. It's not a pleasant thing, for sure. Lufa Melayo, glad you came on, sister. Maybe you can come on next week or share some insight with us. Isaias Diaz, glad to see you, brother. Come on sometime, man. Like to have you as a visitor. Yahuah's child, Tammy T, glad you're on here. I've been watching for you. And Peggy Russell, always glad to have you on. And Hadassah, glad to have you on here too. I know everybody can't make every time we have a Shabbat talk, but when you're on here, I sure do appreciate it, and I sure do enjoy having you as company and a fellowship with you. And all right, that's going to be a wrap. And remember to stay in love with Yahushua HaMashiach. So long, Natsarim, beloved of Yahuah. Good night, everybody. Have a nice Shabbat.